tragedy, Atul Subhash case, committing suicide. And from a human rights perspective or sociological analysis, we've done recent publication, uh, and now a human right analysis on Atul Subhash case. The tremendous number of human rights were violated in his case. Had they been not violated, the condition would have been altogether very different. The few things I've just jotted down, and I've also written two articles on Medium. You can have a look. I've shared them on my social media, different platforms, and it's important. Or the right to Article 14 says right to justice, equality before law, which was fairly denied to Atul Subhash. No equality before law. It's all gender-based law, gender-based law we've been talking about. In Article 21 also, if we study right to dignity and mental health, dignity is automatically suspended once like you're booked, and not exactly booked, but once there is a complaint, such as like 4988 I'm talking about. So that's like social legal system you talk about, it's like fairly, altogether very different. Like right to life is one of the human right which was suspended for him. That is the reason. There's no right to life because too much of pressure. An individual who is qualified enough, working as an engineer, AI, a modern person who is educated, all of a sudden decides to finish his life. It's not just finishing by him, it's a kind of pushing him to kill himself. It's a murder. And murder are those, the legal officers such as the judge, the judicial proceedings, police officers, and particularly, specifically, the lady, his wife, and the wife's family members, the murderers. It's a murder. It's not a suicide, but a murder from a human rights perspective, from a human rights social analysis. I want to tell you, it's very important to understand what kind of things are going on, and there is a need to reforming societal and legal structures. There must be a gender neutral law. Atul Subhash case, if we study, there is no gender neutral law. There was no, that is the reason, because once 4988 you're booked for, it becomes very difficult. Police is not going to listen, the social structure is not going to listen, the ambience or the judicial proceedings also tend to favor most of the times. This is what happens. And uska, there is like 24 pages document, societal note. That is also there are good number of cases like no societal note, no videography of your suicide. But had there been a woman and a single complaint against a man, automatic arresting would have happened. The person and his family members would have been behind the bars. But it's still this family, the wife and his, the wife and her family members, they are hanging around. They're just, roaming around openly. There is no arrest. There is no judicial proceedings. They are not within the captivity of judicial officers or the reach. Still, had there been a male, no a suicide record, no recording video, no other documents, but still the man and his family would be behind the bars by now. But it's like almost couple of days. There's no arresting. It is not a gender neutral law. There's no CBS support. Community-based support is not there. Had this been there, Atul Subhash would not have committed suicide. So that's what the mental and health counseling is very much important. I'm just citing an analysis from a human rights perspective. That is why I call it human rights analysis in Atul Subhash case. Legal support services are very, very important. They should be proactive. When it comes to like fair investigation procedure is not there in 4980 cases. Once you go and approach a police station or any authority, they will straight away close their eyes, close their mind and write the complaint. Blindly they will write the complaint and cite all the charges and narratives and all fake false allegations and fabricated cases. Most of the times, if you study 2021 National Crime Bureau record, NCBR report, 72% like you study suicidal rates, the intensity, frequencies, 70%, 72% of them, this total number of suicide cases, the amount total sample, if you study, they are male because of this false allegations and all. The sample, if you constitute 72% of that sample is constituted by male who commit suicides. Atul Subhash is one of that. It's not a fair legal framework. Gender neutral based law is very much needed. NCBR again data like 72%, 70 to 80% of these cases are false allegations, fabricated cases with wrong intentions. And I again want to tell you that it's an economic activity, 498A cases, because whole lot of industry is there at the back of it, because they pastor, they emotionally and mentally blackmail the husband and his family members, and they ask for money. Even judicial officers, judges and advocates, judicial proceedings, police, first of all they'll ask money, otherwise they'll put the application, other things will happen. It becomes very difficult. So we must standards, we must look for reforms in legislative things, and legal reforms are very much important at this point of time, because whole lot of industry is there. Police is a part of this, so-called social workers, politicians are part of it, judicial officers part of it, advocates are part of it, even media is a part of it. Putting a bad stain on your name, they will write you and against you that you've asked for dowry and this and that, and they'll put it on their articles, different newspapers, different channels, and put a bad name on you. So that is the reason they try to blackmail, so that you give them money. So whole lot of a money thing. If at this point of time I want to tell you some kind of a prophetic thing, not exactly, but forecasting, if there is an action legislatively taken against this, and there is a possibility for reforming judicial systems and proceedings, especially like in these laws 498A and other things, there might be certain things, because whole lot of industries there. They might burn a lady in near future. Oh, again this 498A has killed another woman. They will do it intentionally, so that this 498A is not taken away. It should be taken away. That is what I'm saying. It should not be practiced anymore in Indian legal practices. Why? But because most of those who have got nothing, it's all fabricated cases. Women, family members, police, social workers, politicians, and those pimps, political dalals and judicial dalals. It's a money fetching law for them. It's a big industry. They would not like it. They will make every possible effort so that it is not revoked, it is not cancelled. But there should be certainly brain filled mechanisms, brain sponsored mechanisms, so that those who are actually victims of dowry cases and practices, they should be entertained, they should be helped by this law, out of this law, not those who are running industry, because it is not a fashion, it's an industry, because money is at the back of it, and it's a state sponsored legal terrorism scheme, where an accused is converted as an plaintiff, and plaintiff, a complainant, is converted as an accused. You are supposed to be a complainant, and you stand before the police, before the social system, social structure, and before the judicial proceedings in a court of law as an accused, and you'll have to prove yourself that you're not an accused, and the person who is supposed to be an accused stands as a complainant. Stupid. 70 to 80% cases are false cases, fabricated cases, and there must be some reforms, not just some false accusations. Gender based legal framework is very important. Child custody you cannot have. The Atul Subhash case, like you study his narratives in his 24 suicidal note pages, he was not allowed to catch up and meet his child. What an emotional traumatic situation for him. Mainly and primarily, the wife and her family members are responsible. They should be behind the bars as quickly as possible, spending no time. Very important. His right to life was cancelled. Right to fair trial in judicial proceedings, that was cancelled. Equality before law was not there. Judges like according to the narratives of his societal note, judge is asking for money. Judicial proceedings and officers, they are asking for money for dates and other things. Too much of money. Too much of money. So this law has to be revoked. I mean, has to be cancelled, has to be just taken away. Then there should be certain mechanisms where investigation must happen before you book a person, before you fabricate, and not exactly fabricate, but before you charge a person. But there should be a movement, Me Too movement, as happened like global movement also, V2 movement. But there should be a Me Too movement. There should be rights for men also, because they are overlooked. Unspoken condition is there. So I've written 2 articles in Medium, on Medium, published. You can have a look at them. So this is important to understand, and the few things I want to talk about. There should be a fair legal mechanism. Legal reforms are very much needed, because so many lives are being lost. People are committing suicide. Families are being broken. And children are losing their future. They're becoming crimogenic by experiencing such kind of damages in their families. And too much money being asked by judicial officers, judges, advocates, police officers, social workers, so called media personals. Otherwise, they will publish or report articles on their papers, on their channels against you, putting a bad stain on you, earning a bad name for you. So this is what a clear categorical evidence is there, but there's still no actions. That is what I wonder, why things are happening this way. So we must take proper actions. That is what my request is. And we must, as a nation, as a nation community, stand to support the family of Atul Subhash this time. And I've been doing writings and publishing them on various portals. In fact, my journal also, Research Journal, we've just started. We're doing that. So we've published one, so we'll be uploading and making it public very shortly, hopefully today. And there are a few more publications I am running after, if I'm able to publish in support of Atul Subhash. So we must come together as a nation to support this case and have some better possibilities, so that such kind of heinous and bad practices should not be repeated. No one else, no further person, no further man commits suicide. It's important for us to understand it's a social pathology. It's not just a tragedy. It's not just a mishappening or a suicide or a number. Again, I'm telling you, it is a practice which will certainly resurface, if not checked, if not settled now. So, Honorable Prime Minister, I request you very humbly to look into the matter, Atul Subhash case, and go for judicial reforms. And a framework has to be developed so that it's a gender neutral law and its applications. Many a times Supreme Courts and Honorable High Courts have expressed their concerns, have led the guidelines, but these lower courts, they would not follow them. They'll have their monopoly, their autocracy, and go for practices which are not compatible according to our constitution, according to our legal mechanisms, just because they want to earn money. Police earns money, judicial officers are earning money, social systems, medias. So this is a law which is a money fetching law. It's illegal terrorism. That is the reason it becomes difficult. So that is what I just want to contribute this morning. I'm also packed up. Thanks a lot listening, watching, and giving your appreciation and your love. This is Dr. Surinder Kumar speaking.